Right. Hopefully you've now proved to yourself you have this amazing ability to point at anything. There is one thing, however, that governs this amazing ability to point, and that is what is referred to as dominant eye. It's purely a reflection of your brain. All of us the brain chooses an eye that it prefers to receive information through. Now, I'm a right-handed man, so it's my right eye that will be referred to as the dominant eye. This is the eye that's picking up the information that, once again, enables me to point at you. Now, if you look, obviously, your eye, if you're looking at me, my finger and my right eye form a continual line. So the brain is receiving the information through my right eye. However, not all of us are actually right-handed and right dominant eye, and particularly this will refer to ladies, you ladies out there. Generally, it's a proven medical fact, but also I've found it in my 30-year-long career that the majority of females, as much as maybe 95 to 98%, are always opposite eye. You're going to love this, ladies. The men aren't going to be too pleased about it, but the fact is that as a female, you use both sides of the brain. Most men do not. And what that means is that if, for instance, I'll show you on camera. So if I was left-handed, but my right eye is dominant, this is the effect it would get. I think I'm going to point at your eye. But of course, you can see now that I'm not. So if I shut my right eye, I have to realign my finger under my left eye and your eye. That is the effect of dominant eye. So for instance, we go back, remember, the barrel of our shotgun, which I'm going to indicate in a short while, is just an extension of the pointing finger. So for me, if I was left-handed, okay, but my right eye is dominant, I would line the gun up, if you like, with the eye that is dominant. So obviously, I would be missing that target by obviously some distance, if relevant to you, to its left, to me, to the right. And that's what effect it does. So, because we use our peripheral vision when shooting a shotgun, because remember, we go back to this just pointing, we're using the peripheral vision. So we can identify an object, we're allowed to point at it. Now, regrettably, that if we didn't shut that eye before we began the pointing process, the finger or the barrel of your gun will always come up under the eye which is dominant. That's my right eye, dominant. So I'd always have to adjust. So then what we would have to do, if you are going to shoot with both eyes open, there are many options at which to look at, and in these days there are more options than there used to be. Years ago, you would be made to shoot off your opposite shoulder, or you would even get what we call a crossover stock, a lump of wood that literally crosses your body and allows the barrels to sit under the dominant eye. So that's what you need to do. Have a quick practice. Try it now. Please forgive me, you don't need to do a lot of technical stuff. It's just point your finger. Choose something in the distance, middle distance, just look at it, both eyes open, point your finger. Then shut the opposite, I'm right-handed, I'm going to shut my left eye, and of course my eye and my finger and the object at which you're going to point are going to be in line. So that's simple. So just look at something, both eyes open, point at it, shut your eye, brilliant. My right eye is dominant. Again, same thing, let's just remind ourselves, if this is the effect you have, both eyes open, I'm left-handed this time, so I'm using my right forefinger, and I'll explain about that in a minute, is I'm going to point. Now, of course, I shut that eye, I have to realign. Remember, the moment you start pointing, the finger will travel up under the dominant eye. That's your finger and your barrel. So, for instance, to counteract that, I would have to close my right eye before I then pointed my finger. So it comes up in line. Simple fact. If you're an existing shooter already, whether you're shooting gun down or even if you're shooting a pre-mounted gun, which we'll talk about again further on, remember, the moment you start lifting that gun, that finger, that barrel is going to come up under the dominant eye. So you either need to close the eye. There are other ways in which we can then, for instance, if you are right-handed, your left eye is dominant, particularly you ladies, we would have to find a way, obviously, to cover the iris of your eye so that when you mount the gun or you lift that finger up to your eye, the iris of the eye on your side is covered and the right eye will immediately take over and receive information. So it's not too complicated. You know, there's lots of things talked about it, but it's very simple. Brain uses one eye to receive information. You have to decide which one it is. If it is opposite to the side that you're going to play the game on, whether you're, say it's squash, golf, tennis, whatever, if you're right-handed, you need to find a way to just obscure that eye as you start to point. And we will look at that in time to come. Don't worry too much about the eye dominant situation. These days there are many ways that you can counteract it, very simple ways. One very simple way, of course, is to close that eye. Some of us can do it easily, some of us can't. But there are brain training ways, there are new methods to retrain your eyes, and one can become the dominant eye. There are, if you like, what I call gizmos and gadgets that you can now buy, that some you can place on a gun, and these can be effective. The most and simplest one I've found, and believe me, I only found this a little while ago. I used to have to struggle with the shooting school because I'd get a pupil come in, obviously their opposite dominant eye again, particularly ladies, and I would have to find a way, obviously, of, if you like, obscuring that iris. Now, of course, the trouble is you can wear a Captain Jack Sparrow black eye patch, but that really is very difficult because it cuts out light and it stops us using peripheral vision. Now remember, the reason we have, one of the things that peripheral vision gives us is this ability to judge depth, to judge distance. And the easy way, if you want to try it, is try driving with one eye and going through a gap. You find it very difficult. So this eye still would need light. So I try and find some way of obscuring the lens on a shooting glasses. I'd put tape over it, put grease over it. I try and put little sticky dots over it. But they were never truly really that effective. Anyway, a couple of years ago, I was at a great shooting show in North Carolina. I was next to two really excellent gentlemen with a gun stand, and one of them had on his glasses a pure dot. I don't know if you can hopefully see it. It's purely a small dot on there. And what it is, it's quite amazing. It's just a pair of magnets. Look, very clever. You can move it. It's a magnet. And I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And he told me what it was, and I purchased this instrument, and it works superbly well. It works for me because I'm working with a pupil. I have to find an instantaneous one. Basically, what you do is you purely put it on there. I can move that over the iris of my eye, and immediately, of course, it would cover my eye, and it obscures, if you like, the iris. Immediately, the right eye would take over. There are ways to use it, and we'll talk about that again a little while later. But again, very simple and effective item that can give you the ability to shoot with both eyes open, and at the same time take away the dominance from the opposite eye. Very clever, very simple, easy to do.